like there's no tomorrow.
Welcome to the Big King Podcast.
Ready to go? Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. I have Zili here with me. How are you?
Good.
This is actually the first time we've met. Usually I tell my guests, long time no see. It's usually just a bunch of my friends and me bullshitting on the podcast. So welcome.
Thank you.
And why don't you tell everyone what it is that you do? Because I find what you do super interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Zili. I'm a physiotherapist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm originally from Canada. I arrived in China about last year.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Shanghai, I arrived in March.
Yeah.
Right. But I was in China since July last year. My wife decided to come back to give birth to our daughter.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
What's her name?
Her name is Anya.
Anya. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she just turned 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tough. It's a tough time to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And so you're actually a PT, right?
Yeah.
Is that like an MD level, or is that?
No, it's
No.
not MD
Okay.
level. Before, when I just started studying, they turned it into a master's level
Okay, gotcha.
Education.
Mm-hmm.
But before it was just bachelor's. But
Yeah.
now it's more and more like they're just increasing the qualifications more and more. So
I
now
think
you
that's
have
important.
So now you have DPTs. So they're all
Wow.
doctorates.
Yeah.
In Canada, I think there's one program like that, but in Australia there's several, and in England and United States a lot too.
I think that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Because I do worry a lot about my body as I'm getting older. You know, I'm 37 this year.
Oh, same as me.
Oh, great. 1985.
Yeah.
Yeah. And each year, and you caught me on a really bad day. Like my shoulder hurts today.
Oh.
My back kind of hurts. My knee really hurts today. So like everything kind of hurts. And it's one of those where you wake up and you're just like, I feel old. Like everything just feels old, you know? And it's great to have like PTs that kind of help you through stuff like that.
Yeah, we call ourselves like the mechanics for the human body. You know, our bodies get old. It's like an aging car.
Yeah.
You know, you need more tweaks, right?
Yeah.
So as you grow older, and that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you've come about 6 months, and you're now working at Parkway.
Parkway, yeah. It's a Singaporean company. They're actually under the bigger umbrella called IHH Healthcare.
Oh,
right. But the brand in China is they have several brands. One is Parkway, and the other one is called Glen Eagles.
Okay.
So.
And you're under the Parkway one branch.
I'm under both.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
How does that work?
It's because Parkway, their marketing, they were not sure because Glen Eagles used to be like in Singapore. It's like their high-end medical center, right? So when they established Parkway in China, that was what it was known by Hui.
Yeah.
Right, and everyone knew Parkway, but then they tried to introduce like the Glen Eagle brand, and they're like, and everyone is like, what is that? What is this? And they're like, okay, yeah, maybe we'll just stick with Parkway.
Right.
So they're like, okay, this is Parkway Glen Eagle. So they kind of combined the two together now.
I got you.
Yeah.
And you specialize mostly in.
So as a PT, you know, I can treat, you know, whatever you would expect a PT to treat, you know, most orthopedic injuries, strains, sports injuries, that kind of stuff. But in the last 4 years in Canada, I was working in a concussion program, right? So it was more of a back to work program.
Okay.
Right. So people would get bumped on the head. If they don't recover after 3 months, usually that's when they come to see us.
Is that too late?
No, because usually concussions are supposed to self-resolve, right? If they don't self-resolve with rest, then it becomes what we call the post-concussion symptom.
How do you know that it hasn't like self-resolved?
Oh, they're not able to work.
I've had concussions before, and I've worked through concussions.
Through concussions?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it is kind of a subjective thing, right? It's like how much could you tolerate, let's say, a headache,
right?
You know, how much could you tolerate noise sensitivity, light sensitivity,
right? That was mostly what I had.
Yeah.
Like I got bumped in the head quite a few times, but when I was younger, I remember I was a swimmer when I was a kid. I don't know what sports you did when you were a kid.
Badminton?
Okay. Well, in
Asian?
swimming is very, it's very Asian. Swimming's supposed to be very safe, right?
Yeah.
Like most Asian parents, my mom included, was like, oh, swimming, he won't get hurt. You know, like I remember my cousins were allowed to play every sport that they wanted except football. And they were like, you're not allowed to play football. And I was like, but I was put in swimming, and I would never think that I would get hurt.
Yeah.
But I remember we were rolling up the lane lines on this big wheel, right? And we were kids, so we're rolling it real fast.
Okay.
And then the lane line popped up and just went boom and smacked me in the forehead.
That's a freak accident.
Freak accident.
Yeah.
But we were just rolling it too fast. Like usually you see it and then you slow it down, you grab it and you hook it on and you're fine.
Right.
And so it smacked me in the head and I was like, whoa. All the lights went real bright. And then I was just dizzy. And I guess I'm assuming that I had a concussion.
Yeah.
It was a pretty, like I fell and went to my knees, lights everywhere. And I was like, oh. But like at 16, 17, you're just like, I'll just power through this.
Yeah.
And then no problems. Never. Like I went to school, all that, no problem.
Yeah, you're one of the lucky ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what happens when it's like bad?
When it's bad, so there's a whole list of symptoms for concussion, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you look at a concussion assessment sheet, they will ask you you just kind of tick off
Right.
these symptoms like headaches, dizziness, eye problems, difficulty concentration, right? So for some of these people, usually for kids, they just like you said, they would just push on through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, some of these kids, they're pushing through, but then they find out, okay, they can't study. They can't study.
I find that most
concentrate.
kids can't concentrate anyways. Like, I'm going to wait for your daughter to be 13 and just be like, Dad, like, I just want to play on TikTok. But I find that kids can't concentrate anyways. Like, how do you know?
Well, it's like you look at the before and after.
Okay.
Right? It's like, if you were like a straight A student and then all of a sudden, you can't concentrate and you start to fail your exams, then that's a
clear sign.
That's a clear sign.
You got hit in the head, and then afterwards, nothing was right.
Yeah. Other things you look for would be like mental changes, right? So altered mental states. For example, being angry all the time, right?
Angry all the time?
Yeah, angry. Yeah, like
Is that a thing?
Changes in mood. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. A lot of our patients they're frustrated. Yeah, a lot of frustration just because things that they could do before, they're having more trouble with. Yeah, it's like things you take for granted.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like a lot of things you took for granted. Being able to read, you took that for granted.
Right.
But then it's like, okay, you're reading now like 3 times slower than before.
Right.
Right, things like that.
So what do you guys do?
Okay, so for reading, right? So there's several categories of stuff that we want to rehab, right? So in particular for reading, that would be eyesight, right? So what happens? How come you have trouble reading, right? So let's get into that.
If I had trouble reading, it would probably be because I can't focus on the actual words, is my assumption.
That would be one reason,
Okay.
right? So the whole visual system, it's actually takes up a huge part of the brain.
I know. I heard that.
Yeah. So the visual system is not just like a camera. It's not like you see something and and that's it.
Yeah.
Right. The visual system is a mental processing system. Right. So you see something, but your brain has to interpret it.
Correct.
Right. It has to know what it is. Right. So after a concussion, your processing skills goes way down. Right, so you can see something, but it takes way longer for you to process.
So if I saw like my banjo, I'd be like, "What is that? That
Word-
doesn't seem likely."
Word findings. Sometimes you would just say it's like what do you call this again? You can't remember.
Dude, I have that now. Like even now.
Yeah.
I've been in China 10 years, and there are words that I just can't remember anymore in English, and then there are words I can't remember in Chinese, and I'm just like, maybe I have brain issues.
You never know, right?
Okay, so processing, what else?
And visual, right? So your visual system, it's divided into 2 main categories. One is spatial vision. That's like the big image.
Right.
So
What's close, what's far?
No, it's like your peripheral vision plus everything. So you're able to just like see the big picture.
Okay.
Right. And then there's the focal vision. You're able to see the details and stuff.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going.
Okay. So after a concussion, what you lose is like the big picture.
You only see details.
You only see details.
Oh,
so imagine you're only able to see small things. Right, so if you're trying to read fast, so if you're trying to read fast, you can only read like one word at a time. Versus if you had your spatial vision, you can read like the whole sentence or even the whole paragraph if you're a speed reader.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah,
that's really scary. Then you can't drive.
Driving is a lot of our patients stop driving.
Yeah. Then you can't drive at all. Like even walking would be difficult. Like crossing the street requires a lot of like peripheral vision.
No, they cannot go in public transit.
Yeah.
Because they'll get overwhelmed with the crowds, right? Because imagine like you're only able to focus on details.
Yeah.
So if you have this whole crowd of people like walking across you and you're trying to navigate across that.
Yeah.
Right. So you need your peripheral vision. You need to be able to know where you're going. Right, that's your focal vision, but you need your peripheral vision to see, okay, this guy is coming towards me, and then there's like something on the road that I might trip over. It's like a whole bunch of stuff that's like working together.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
And so a lot of your patients come from like what industries or?
It's pretty wide ranging actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we have office workers who get injured in the office by like walking the doors or like bumping into shelves.
And I don't know what these people are doing.
And then we have like what you expect, the blue collar workers who are like in the construction sites.
That I can imagine. Like, I assume that those places are dangerous. That's why they wear hard hats. That's like why they wear like protective clothing. Yeah. But like people that get hurt in an office, I'm usually like, what were you doing? Like, you kind of brought this one on yourself usually.
We never say that though.
Of course not. Of course not. As a doctor, you're not allowed to say that.
Yeah.
So what do you like, how do you help them? Like we talked about the visual, like how do you help them get over that? Because there's got to be like a map to get out of this.
Right. So we at the clinic that we used to work that I used to work in, we have a whole program. It's a multidisciplinary program. So the patients, they're not working, so they come every single day.
That's great.
The government pays them to come.
I think that's necessary. Yeah. You should come every day.
Public healthcare.
Yeah. Canada.
Right. So they come Monday to Friday. So we're a multidisciplinary team. So the OTs, the occupational therapists, they would help them with their career-related stuff. So they'll do like the work simulations.
Okay.
Right. So they'll see, okay, so what do you need to do at work that you cannot do right now?
Right.
And we'll just practice that. We'll start with the simplest stuff, and then we'll work our way towards like a real work simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they'll also go with the gradual return to work because you never send them back full time and things like that. So that's the OTs. For PTs, we're more geared towards the physical side. Right. So we will look at how much physical activities can they tolerate. Right. So we do something called the BCTT, which stands for the Buffalo Concussion Treadmill Test. Buffalo because University of Buffalo.
Oh, okay. I thought the actual animal for a second, and I was like, "Are you getting chased by a buffalo?"
Yeah, a lot of people get confused by the name.
Okay.
Right. So what we do is that we measure their heart rate, right, at the same time as they're walking on a treadmill at the same speed.
Sure.
Right, and every minute we increase the incline.
I've seen that. I've seen a lot of athletes do that.
Yeah.
How does that help?
So we know how much exercise they can tolerate. So every minute we will ask them for their symptoms.
Right.
Right. So we will only do it for people who get symptomatic with physical exertion.
Right.
Right. So we
That's
know.
cool.
So we know exactly at which heart rate that they start to get symptomatic.
Right.
And at which heart rates they cannot continue. So we stop the test once their symptoms goes beyond their baseline by 3. So let's say your headaches at the beginning was like a 3 on 10.
That seems really, I don't know. Like each person seems very subjective.
Yeah, but that's all we have for headaches, right? You know, for this that's kind of something that's all you can base it off of.
Yeah.
It's by their own feedback, right? So once their symptoms gets past that, then we stop the test, and we know, okay, so that allows us also to get them a cardio program, right? So let's say they get symptomatic after their heart rate goes past, I don't know, like 150.
Yeah.
So we say, okay, let's go 80% of that. And let's work with that. So we want you to keep it at 80% of that, right? And I want you to keep it up for 25 minutes if you can. And every week, we're going to increase your heart rate by 5.
Right.
By 5. and until you can reach what you couldn't before.
Is it
Right?
does it become just a pain tolerance thing?
No,
assume-
it's not tolerance. We call it like more habituation, right? It's like because look, with a concussion, it's like the symptoms that you feel. It's basically your body is in shock,
yeah.
right? So your head got hit, right? Your body is in this like fight or flight mode, and it cannot get out of it.
That's why you see details. Oh, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
You cannot get out of that
Right.
state, right? So through gradually increasing your activity, you're telling your body, it's like, hey, calm down, right? It's okay, right? So it's all about decreasing sensitivity, right? It's not.
Oh, that makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
it's never like we would never tell people, okay, push past it. That's like the opposite of what we want them to do.
Right.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite. We want them to be able to calm down without the symptoms, right? To be able to do as much as they can,
Ah, that
you
makes
know,
sense.
while maintaining, you know, their symptoms relatively low.
Right.
Right.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Do we really understand what happens during a concussion? Can you tell me? Like, because I've always wondered about that. I've had a couple. I think I've had a couple.
Right.
And I don't think I've ever had like real problems with it. They tell you not to sleep afterwards. Is that true?
No.
Like you shouldn't go directly to sleep.
Well,
I've heard that, and I don't know if that's true.
probably not right away because
Okay.
they want to see your mental state.
Okay.
Yeah, because if
Because
you
when I was a kid,
yeah.
they told you that if you go to sleep right after a concussion, you might not wake up, and I was like, that's terrifying. Like
Yeah.
that was really scary to me.
Yeah, they probably tell that just because they want to monitor you.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you pass out, then they don't know
Okay.
like are you okay?
Yeah.
Right. They're just worried about that part. Right. So if you have a brain bleed,
Yeah. Oh, I see.
right,
Okay.
and you're awake and they see you just passed out, then they'll send you to a hospital right away. But you won't be able to do that if
you're asleep.
If you're asleep.
Correct.
Right.
Okay,
So
I
that's
gotcha.
that's the main reason, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what actually happens during a concussion? Do we know?
Okay, so a concussion, if you want to differentiate it from the traumatic brain injury,
Yeah.
right, they would call it an MTBI. They would not call it TBI.
Okay.
Yeah, so mild traumatic brain injury, right? The
Then
reason
what's a TBI?
TBI is like when you have an actual brain damage.
The concussion doesn't actually damage the brain?
It damages the brain, but it's
But
not like
mild.
it's not permanent damage, right? So traumatic brain injury, like you
okay.
have brains, like entire portions of your brain dying off,
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
right? So you'll be like, you know, you either like you will lose something. You will
Okay.
lose the ability to talk, you know, you lose the ability to move like half your body.
That
things
stuff
like,
scares the crap out
yeah,
of me too.
things like that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's,
Yeah.
and then you will see like central nervous system changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so you will see like central signs, like, you know, you might see some clonus.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you do some of those like nerve testings,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see like, oh, this nerve is not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Something's
of
wrong
stuff.
with the brain, right?
Something's wrong with the central nervous system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for MTBI.
Yeah.
It sounds like that. What is that? What is that personality test? MBTI or whatever. But with a mild traumatic brain injury, what happens? Like your brain just kind of rattles around and that's it?
Yeah, it just like, you know, hits around the skull, right? So it usually happens with a blow to the head,
Right.
Right, but it can also happen if you're just like shook, right? So
really?
if you're shaking very violently, you can have brain injury. That's why you say you never shake a kid,
That I've heard.
right?
Yeah.
You never shake a baby because you'll give them brain injury.
I always assume that's because their neck is really weak and you might snap their neck.
That
I don't know.
That too.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know enough about babies. You are probably the expert on that, being having a 1-year-old.
Yeah, but yeah. So for example, if you have a whiplash injury, so let's say if you've been hit from behind, even if you don't hit the back of your seat,
Right.
If you just like go like this very violently, very quickly, your brain would smash into your skull.
You know, we used to do that when we were kids, right? Like, I don't know if you remember going to like concerts when you were a kid, but then the head banging. Like, I remember doing this motion a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's probably not good.
They're probably not good for us, right?
Probably not good for your brain.
Shit. But I remember doing that like at concerts, just like, yeah, and shaking your head. That's probably not a good idea.
Probably
not
not.
great for your neck.
Yeah, but the good news is that, you know, if you're shaking yourself, right,
Yeah.
you're probably not gonna do it as violently as, let's say, like when a car bumps into you. You know, like the
Because you're
force.
unprepared for it.
Yeah, one, you're unprepared for it, and two, the force is a lot bigger, right? Because you only have a certain amount of force which you can exert on your neck,
Yeah.
versus a car which is like a few tons,
Yeah. No, I get
like
that.
smashing
Yeah.
into you, right? So, yeah. So what happens is that the brain would just go, "Oh my god," you know, like it's trying to protect itself,
Yeah.
right? So you're in this fight or flight mode. Usually, it's supposed to calm down. It's supposed to calm down within 7 to 10 days. And at max,
7 to 10 days.
7 to 10 days.
Really? That long?
That long, yeah. That's usually how long it takes to completely recover from a concussion.
If you had asked me a couple minutes ago, I would have told you like 48 hours. Like max. Like after 48 hours, I'm usually okay. 7 to 10 days is a really long time.
Yeah, that's usually that's what they say.
Is that just doctors playing it safe?
No, it's not, because for kids they actually say it's 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, for adults it's 7 to 10 days. For kids, up to 3 weeks.
Wild.
Yeah, so and they say that that's usually how long it would take for the symptom to reside.
Yeah.
Meaning that's there's a big range, right? But usually after 7 to 10 days you should be okay for the most part, right? But then there's like the people that I see,
Right,
with the post-concussion
they've had it for months,
sometimes even like over a year.
yeah,
Over
that's
a year.
crazy.
Yeah.
Just being stressed out way above average for a year, I don't know if I could handle that sounds miserable.
Yeah, so that's why we actually have counselors on our team too.
Right.
Yeah, just to talk
Just
some
to
serious kind of stuff.
de-stress you,
Yeah.
because I feel like that's a huge problem in China, to be fair. Like I see, and especially in Shanghai, I see so much just stressed out people in Shanghai. Everyone's just like
It's pretty fast-paced city, right?
on edge all the time. The first thing I noticed, I don't know if you noticed, as a Canadian, I used to travel from Taipei to Shanghai a lot, and Taiwan is generally, and like I know I'm saying this at a weird time, but like the people are genuinely happier. Like I see a lot more smiles on like islands, and then you come to Shanghai and no one smiles. Everyone's just like, gotta move all the time. And I'm like, whoa, everyone's so stressed out here.
Yeah. I feel it's worse in Hong Kong, but yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel
Hong Kong is super stressed, but that's just finance kids.
Yeah, I definitely got that feeling in Hong Kong. In Shanghai,
Less?
it's less.
Okay.
It's but I definitely get what you're saying though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more fast-paced city than, let's say, where I'm from. I'm from
Anywhere in Canada.
Yeah, anywhere.
Anywhere in Canada does not compare. We were just talking about Canada because everyone's it's just a nice country. Like everyone's polite, everyone's overly polite and just genuinely nice.
Yeah.
Right? There's very few people that are just like, gotta go all the time.
Yeah, we joke that's all of Canadians' anger.
Yeah.
It's all distilled into Canadian geese. The Canadian geese have all of our
Angry.
Canadians'
They're
anger.
angry. Yeah. They attack people.
Oh yeah, I was attacked by a few when I was a kid.
We got them in New Jersey a lot, and they would fly down, and they just chase you. And they have no fear. Unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
So why come to China? Why do it in China? Because I feel like in Canada there is an understanding about this kind of thing, and I think there may be more professionals taking care of it. In China, I feel like, I don't know, it's less people really thinking about these things.
Yeah.
Especially the occupational one. That one's totally new for me.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? I first came to Shanghai actually 5 years ago.
Okay.
Holy crap, more than that, almost 10 years, to 2014.
That was the most fun Shanghai.
Yeah.
By the way, Shanghai was the most fun around 10 years ago. But anyways, go on.
Yeah, so when I was here about 10 years ago, I saw, okay, the rehab field, they have it, right? But it's not nearly as developed as like a Western country. So I saw an opportunity, really, right? So I was hoping that I would be able to help change the industry towards more kind of
Understanding.
a holistic Western model where, you're multidisciplinary, right? You focus more on self-healing, right? Like taking home exercises rather than just like more of passive healing, which a lot of Chinese people.
I'll be fair. my
used to?
doctor
Yeah.
that did my knee the first time also was like, just sit and do nothing. And that was when I was 18, so like 20 years ago. But like he was like, just don't move for 3 months. Don't move. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that's like that. It's the complete opposite now, right?
Yeah.
It's almost completely different now. They tell you now, get it at least range of motion almost as soon as possible.
Yeah.
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 20, like when I got my ACL, they were like, don't move. I'm gonna put a cast on it and just 3 months, don't move.
Oh God.
And I was like,
Oh God.
I still think I'm fucked up.
Oh,
like
no.
even now, my left quad, not as big. My left butt cheek, not as big. My right, I guess, lower back, bigger. And so it's like, it's weird because like your body, you know, tries to compensate. And it's just like, I walk funny. I actively like try to walk more even 20 years later.
Even 20 years
Yeah.
later. Yeah.
It's wild.
Because
I
that.
sat and did nothing for 3 months.
Yeah, because look, if you don't do anything for 3 months, all of your muscles are completely atrophied.
Yeah.
Right? Completely atrophied. And even if you start to do exercises right after
Yeah.
the surgery, the muscles are going to be atrophied already.
Yeah.
Right? And if you wait 3 months, it's going to be like
Worse.
Like way, way worse.
Yeah.
Right? So
Here, now you saw an opportunity and just decided to swing by.
well, it's more complicated than that.
Okay.
Initially, that was the reason I came 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But then I went back to Canada.
Uh-huh.
The main reason was, I felt like I wanted to get more experience
fair.
in the field. And I felt that in China, if I'm in like high-end hospitals, I don't get the same amount of caseload.
Really?
Yeah, because high-end hospitals, you're not busy. It's a pretty chill, it's a pretty chill job.
At like Parkway?
Yeah.
Parkway's pretty busy. It's not that busy, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not that busy.
And you think that in Canada you just get like a ton of workload?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, a
A
lot
ton
easier.
of experience.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and also you have easier access to courses and stuff like that.
That's a good one.
Continuing education.
Yeah.
But anyways, my wife, as I said, she gave birth last year, right? So she wanted to give birth back in China, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's wild to me.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's usually the opposite, right?
usually the complete opposite.
Yeah,
correct.
like you hear all of these Chinese women, they want to
Yeah.
go to the States to give birth,
complete opposite.
right? Yeah, so
The world's changing.
yeah, the world's changing. Well, I mean, for our case, I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
My wife is Chinese,
Yeah.
and personally, she wanted our kid to have Chinese citizenship.
Right.
Right. And if she was born in Canada, she won't be able to have Chinese.
Correct.
Yeah, she'll be like me. But
Hold on. So let me get this. Because I understand it because, I mean, there was that whole Eileen Gu thing that everyone was kind of like, oh, she's, a lot of people are rooting for China these days. And I've been here 10 years. I obviously, I love China. I think China's awesome. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed this long, right?
yeah.
That is interesting to me because does she not know, like, how hard the kids work here? Like, I've seen stressed out kids, especially in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Like, you watch these kids, school, extracurriculars all day, homework, sleep. And it's like, they're working harder than me.
They definitely are, but at the same time, if you look at those kids, it's like wow, those kids, the educations they're getting at the same age, they know a lot more than, let's say, the kids at the same age in, let's say,
I know
Canada.
I'm kind of derailing it because I agree with that.
Yeah,
But how do you feel about like Western education? At what point do you need the Western education? You think never? Because that's to me, that's unrealistic. At what point are you like, okay, my kids can go to like high school or like middle school?
I would say like it depends on the kid's ability.
Okay.
Right, and their stress tolerance. Right, if they're like kind of like me and they don't like stress, then I would send them overseas a little bit earlier. Right. Versus if they're able to like mix in with the kids here and they're able to like do pretty well in comparison to their peers, then I would say, okay, yeah, you're made for the Chinese system. You can get through it. That's fine.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Because
it's like how should I say it? It's almost like survival of the fittest.
Yo, I get it.
Over here,
It is.
And if you're able to survive, like you're amazing. Like some of the
Do you really
that's what I
believe that?
find.
Do you really believe that? I want you to think that one through because I don't think that is, and as an older person, I look at that and I'm like, that can't be healthy. Like, I've seen enough of my friends go through like Wall Street, go through like hard work situations that are just burnt out. And then I've seen the same symptoms on kids, where kids are just like, I can't do this anymore. And then they're just like, and hopefully you catch it early. Where you're like, my kid can't. But like, I've seen enough parents that are just like, no, you can push a little bit harder. Like, you don't know what your limit is. Like, push through, and you've got like, and I'm like, I don't know if that's the right. I don't know if that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I think I need to be. How should I say? I don't think I've been exposed to kids who are that stressed enough. So maybe I'm just like not aware.
Yeah,
I
think
how bad
you need to pay attention to it.
Yeah,
because I've definitely seen kids that are just like done. Like, and they're only like 15, 16, and they're just like zoned out.
They're like burnt out to investment bankers.
Bingo.
Kind of like that.
And I'm shocked.
Wow.
You're so young and you're just already burnt out.
Yeah.
Because every day is just stress. So I do worry about that. Like, to me, I've seen a lot of my very successful Chinese friends that go over to a Canada or in America or wherever. I would say right after middle school or during middle school. I think that's the perfect time to me, because I think it's given you enough hard skills, like maths and sciences, and the ability to learn those really quickly, and then you can kind of go into like the soft skills and pick those up in like later.
I agree. I went to Canada when I was 7, so I was in grade 2.
Yeah, that might be a little bit.
I was in grade 2, and my Chinese skills, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
So, but now that you're back, are they coming back?
Well, I'm forced to, because
you have to, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to write. I'm gonna have to be able to write charts in Chinese sometimes, and
it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. I still need to be able to read the newspaper sometimes. You know, so.
Okay, so anyways, back to work, right? So, how do you feel about the system here then? Like, it seems like it's a cushier gig, which is nice, and you get to see, I guess, I'm assuming it's better paid patients. What kind of patients are here as opposed to the ones back in Canada?
Okay.
What's the difference?
Well, it would be very different, because the patients I was seeing in Canada were part of the back to work program. So it's all work related injuries. Okay. Right. So it's all government insurance. Right. And pretty much you can see them until they can get back to work. Right. There's not. Well, I mean, there is pressure, and in a sense that's they will only tolerate it so far before they would just say, okay,
you gotta go.
You're not getting better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the government would say that, and then they would just pay them a lump sum, and that's it. And it's always sad when that happens.
Yeah.
Right. Versus here would be most of the patients would be paid by private health insurance.
Yeah.
Right. And their injuries, for the most part, would not be work related. Right. So
then what are they from? Do you know? I mean, you've only been working there a little bit, but what's your guess?
A lot of it is just like posture. I mean, the patients I'm seeing right now is just because they've been looking at their cell phones too much after the lockdown.
Oh my God.
I mean, during the lockdown. Yeah. Right? Because you have all of these purchasing groups, and some of them are like on their phones for like half the day.
Yeah.
And they develop neck issues, shoulder issues, back issues. Things like that.
So that's mostly what you're seeing
right now.
That sounds terrible.
Post lockdown.
To be fair, I understand why that happens, right? It happened to me too. I gained a little bit of weight during lockdown as well. But I just feel like the fitness industry as a whole in China right now is still kind of just happening, and they really need PTs. Like, I've seen so many bad coaches in China that
China is like no pain, no gain, right? Is that it?
It's not even that.
It's not even that?
I think that, and I can only speak for Shanghai, because I haven't really done like gyms in like other cities. But like in Shanghai, it's so much about being a salesperson and far less about being a coach, because rent's so high that you need to survive.
Yeah.
And so the level of coaching is very low, and they value salesmanship over
Oh, that's
coaching.
horrible.
I see that a lot.
Okay.
It's changing. I think the last 3 or 4 years it's been changing, but I see that way more. It's just more about selling memberships as much as possible.
Yeah.
To the point where a lot of and coaches get better, and then they become private trainers, and then even then it's about selling classes more than it is about the coaching.
Yeah. But that being said, like in terms of the fitness industry, if you look at competition wise, China is actually like,
I agree.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you look at their Paralympics and how much medals
Correct.
they have, it's like, wow, it's like there must be doing something right.
But those people are put on a separate path.
That's
so
true.
all the best coaches go to those people.
Yeah.
And then everyone that's left is in the general pool.
Right.
And then the general pool never gets to that
The elite level.
the elite
Yeah.
level. Just never gets there.
Very true.
And there's good and bad to that, to me. I think that the professional athlete route has pulled a lot of people out of poverty, out of whatever situation that they were in, put food in their mouth, give them training. Because I've had a lot of national level athletes on my podcast, archery, all sorts.
Amazing.
And it put food in their mouth, give them a skill, and now they can go and teach that skill to, the next generation, which I think is completely valuable. The problem with that is I also understand the American system, which is you're kind of like a hobbyist until you become really amazing.
Yeah.
And then everyone kind of fights on an even playing field to some extent. I mean, as even as it can be, right? Like I was a swimmer and our YMCA just competed with all of the other YMCAs. And so if you hit whatever time for whatever event, you qualify for that event and you can go. And it's just a lot more meritocracy is from that regard, right? You compete until you qualify for this, and then you can go. And if you're good, you just keep getting better.
Yeah.
And if you don't make it, well, but like in China, I feel like you kind of
shoehorn into it, right?
And you
it's
get
like,
picked.
Yeah, it's like if you're going down that path, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
That's
Which is worrisome.
Yeah.
Because who really knows what they want to do at like 6, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know. I like at 6, I remember I wanted to be a comedian. And I was like, I don't fucking know what I want to do. And my mom was like, no, you want to be senator. And I was like, that's probably not it.
I thought Asian parents would be like, either doctor or lawyer.
We had that too. I think doctor was heavily pushed. My sister's a lawyer, so they got one of them. But what else? Like, what's cool about, I guess, working here? Is there anything fun, interesting? Like, have you met cool people yet?
Well, I was
Not
in
yet.
Shanghai in very different circumstances.
Right.
10 years ago, I was single and with no kid and no lockdowns. So it was like I was in Shanghai for the energy, right? Like it was a city where you can just like anything you want to do, you can find.
That was really a lot of fun back then.
Yeah.
Shanghai is very different now. It's not bad. I actually think I'm having more fun now, but I'm older. It's a different kind of fun.
Yeah.
I remember 10 years ago, and every night I was just out. I was just partying every single night. And now
I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
And now I'm like, well, I go, but now it's also fun, right? Last night I was rock climbing until real late, at the rock climbing gym, and we were just, looking at the routes. A friend of mine competed the day before, and so I knew the routes, and then I went to go try them, and I got through a bunch of them, and I was really happy. But like now, my shoulder hurts, my neck hurts, like everything hurts. My feet hurt. Do you do any sports?
Now, unfortunately, not.
No, I mean,
not
like
that much.
If you did not have the kid, like what would you be interested in doing? I know you had told me that you like climbing.
Yeah, I used to climb back in
Canada,
back in university. I haven't climbed for years now. And then I developed some like compartment syndrome. I mean, yeah, I do want to get back into it.
Right.
Climbing is one. I used to be a pretty big swimmer.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Swimmer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, swimming, running,
Uh-huh.
all kinds of cardio. So my end goal is I want to do a triathlon one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. Please do that.
Yeah, that's like my
Your goal.
bucket list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let's say before I hit 40.
We're coming up.
Yeah.
We're coming.
3 years,
Yeah.
right? 3 years. Have to lose that's lockdown weight
Yeah.
first, and then
Yo,
we'll
a
get back into
triathlon's
it.
tough.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it. Because I don't think swimmers win triathlons ever. Like the swimming leg is always the shortest one, and there's only so much that you can gain on that leg. Yeah. Like I always find that it's either the runner or the biker that like wins out.
Yeah, I mean, I like to do all three.
Yeah.
Right, so that's why I'm really
Go for
considering
it. Oh
the
man,
triathlon.
if you ever need like a coach, let me know. I know a ton of guys that do
I
triathlons.
probably need a coach later on. Yeah.
That's cool, but like to me, a lot of my doctor friends, they lead like really unhealthy lives.
Yeah.
Which always makes me like,
I resent
dude,
that.
but it's true, right? Like I've seen doctors that go out for smoke breaks, and I'm like, you're a doctor. What are you doing? Like that's the last thing I want to see my doctor go out for a smoke break.
Yeah.
But they do that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a PT teacher, and he calls his belly his orthopedic pouch.
Jeez.
Yeah, orthopedic pouch because you could put somebody's arm on the
Yeah.
belly to do mobilizations.
Dude, like I just don't feel like you can be my doctor if you're not healthy. You know, and I know that's not true, right? There are very good doctors that have maybe unhealthy lives. But I always believe that you should live what you preach.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way. There are some people who are very good with knowledge, like they know what you're supposed to do, right? And they can impart that knowledge, but
Sure.
they're not able to do it themselves for various reasons. One, like life reasons, laziness, different reasons, right?
Do you believe that I don't believe in that. I am actually 100%. I can't say I'm 100%. I'm very against that because you know what's in the book. You can repeat to me and you can analyze data great. But I cannot tell you how swimming feels until you get in the water. You know, there's something about experiencing what I'm experiencing and that kind of, I want to say empathy that you need to have in order to be good, I think. Right? If my coach never swam and just watched a lot of swimming videos and told me what the swimming videos,
That's a good point,
like
yeah.
I would not buy into this coach. You know, and I think the doctor's the same way, which is why like a lot of my PT friends, they also do CrossFit, they also rock climb, they also do jujitsu.
Yeah.
Like if they did not do those things, they can't empathize with me.
I definitely agree, but that's I think that's the case for more athletes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
And definitely 100%. If you're an elite athlete, you definitely need a therapist who understands what you're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, who have done similar stuff.
Yeah.
And who knows like what training means, right? Versus somebody who never does it.
Yeah.
Right. But a lot of PTs, like they treat people who are exactly like them.
So they empathize with
you
the
get
lady.
me? You get me?
I do get
right? Right?
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But I understand where
Yes,
that's
you
coming
need
from.
you need to treat the couch potato too.
Right.
Right. And look,
I understand.
Sometimes only a small percentage of the population are just active, and like 80%, I would say, are not.
Yeah.
Right. So for those people, you have those doctors, right? But I definitely agree for athletes.
Right.
And in general, I find like especially elite athletes, they will gravitate towards these kind of doctors if they see a doctor who don't know like what kind of training they're doing and who cannot even give them advice on how to train or how to prevent injuries and things like that.
Yeah.
They would just not see them. They would go to somebody else.
You know what? It's not even that.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of us share, and it's bro science, but like a lot of us share how to get better from X, Y, and Z, right? Like I broke my toe in jujitsu, and
Ouch.
Yeah, I landed on it like this, and it just went,
Oh.
and you heard the pop, right? And the toe was literally like almost 180 degrees in the wrong direction.
Oh no.
And one of my wrestler friends pulled it,
Are you kidding me?
reset it, and then splinted to the guy next to it. And then I went to the hospital, and they were like, well, he did everything we were going to do.
Oh.
So you're done. and I was like, that was it? Like, I came all the way to the hospital, and you told me that my wrestler friend did exactly what you guys were going to do? And they're like, yeah, we x-rayed it. It seems like it's set right.
Wow.
You're done. And I was like, fuck. So, like, we have all that bro science. What I really want from, like, a PT is you understand how much I want to get back to my sport. You know, like the jiu-jitsu people that sit on the sidelines, they can only do that for like a week, maybe 2 weeks. And I know you want me to like rest longer, but like they have to understand that a lot of my friends, their entire social network is built around a small jiu-jitsu gym. And if you tell them to wait 2 months before they can get back on the mats, like a person that's not in that community will not understand how almost impossible that is. Right? Like I need you to empathize with me and be like, this is what you can do on the mat after your first month. This is what you can do in the following weeks. This is where this is like your line. But you can do before this line you can do. And I need we need doctors to like understand our sport, the emotional attachment we have to our like communities, because I think that's really what's lacking.
But sometimes, you know, I find you have to have a balance, right? Like because I do understand a lot of people want to get back into the sports, but you have to also let your body heal, right? I mean, I treated people who, you know, who got injured and they absolutely need to get into a race while they're injured. And it's like I feel like what we do is just like giving them band-aids to make sure that they don't fall apart. I
understand that feeling.
But you know, we also have a responsibility too to make sure that you don't overly injure yourself doing what you love, right?
Is that your responsibility though? How do you feel about it? That's what I want to know. Like, do you think that that's your responsibility, or do you believe the responsibility is on the patient? Here's how I feel. I think the responsibility is 70% on the patient and 30% on the doctor to be like, look, I've already told you everything that you need to know. What you choose to do after I tell you all of this is your business. I'll be here when you fall apart again. But I've told you everything. And you need to understand everything that I've told you. But what you choose to do after is your fucking business.
I mean, in the end, that's all a doctor can do. I mean, I can't force you to like not do.
And I don't think I would go to a doctor that tried to force me. Like if a doctor really tried to be like, no, I'd be like, well, you don't understand. Like you're not in this. I'm in this. And this is my life. If I choose to go rock climbing, even though my shoulder's fucked up, that's on me, right? We're all adults, at least to me, right? You're an adult. You have to deal with the responsibility. I think your responsibility is just give as much of the information as humanly possible.
I mean, that's all I can say. I would tell you, hey, if you keep on doing this, you might inflame the tendon, and the recovery time for an inflamed tendon would be a lot worse compared to, let's say, a pulled muscle.
Oh, I know.
Right.
I have a friend. Her name's Melissa, and she's been injured since I've known her. That shoulder has not gotten better in like 4 years. Just that shoulder is just consistently injured.
Did she ever rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit. You know, she'll rest for like a couple weeks.
Oh my God.
and then she'll get back into it. And it's worse because it's jiu-jitsu. Like jiu-jitsu is the art of pulling your joints in the wrong directions. Right? That's the whole point of the sport. So I'm gonna pull on your shoulder, and that's your injured shoulder. And I want you to know that like, I try to not pull as hard, but you need to tap.
Yeah.
Like you need to tell me, oh, that's too far.
Yeah.
But like some people, they love their sport or their community so much, they just power through it.
Yeah, I mean, I would ask my patients, it's like, what's your goal in coming to see me? Is your goal to get completely better, or is your goal to just get back into the sports?
Right.
In whatever form that you can.
Yeah.
Right. If you tell me, okay, I just want to get back into the sports, then the approach might be quite different from versus you want to get completely better.
Yeah.
If you want to get completely better, unfortunately, sometimes like a prolonged period of rest is necessary, especially if your injury is repetitive stress injury.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's like doing that stuff, like doing repetitive movements that stresses that muscle is literally what causes the injury.
Yeah.
The only way to fix it is to stop doing that. Right.
What about doing the reverse of that?
What do you mean? Like,
So, and this is again in my head, bro science.
yeah.
But I believe, and there's value. I know there's value in there. I just haven't thought it all the way through. But I believe that you split the body into two halves. If you train your shoulder and you do a lot of forward shoulder rolls, then you do a lot of backward shoulder rolls to like train the muscles that pull it in the other direction. A lot of my friends that were backstrokers need to do a little bit more freestyle because
I'm perfectly fine with that.
And I think that as long as you do the reverse,
Yeah.
then you kind of like pull the muscle or the joint in the correct position. Because if you do too much of one way, you got to do a bunch of the other way.
I mean, that's one of the best things for preventing injuries is doing different sports and not focusing on just one sport.
Nice.
Right. So
I agree with that.
So I'm totally fine with just like doing something else. Right. So if let's say a certain movement in jiu-jitsu is what causes that pain, then stop doing that particular maneuver. Do something else.
That won't happen. That'll never happen.
That won't happen.
I would if you've seen, have you ever met any jiu-jitsu people?
I haven't met. I only watched some.
I will introduce you to a bunch of clients later. But jiu-jitsu people it's such an ego-driven sport, even though they tell you it's not, because everyone wants to win.
Oh boy.
And everyone's just, when they're in trouble, they resort to their safe move. And then everyone has a couple of those safe moves. And that move is just overused by far.
Because it's all muscle memory, right?
It's all
like,
muscle memory.
to
Once
go back
you get
into it.
into that fight or flight mode, that move usually saves them.
Yeah.
And that move gets used a lot. And everyone has a couple. And it's just repetitive over and over. And they've drilled that move over and over.
Yeah.
And it's just, I get it. That's what causes injury.
Yeah. And like I said, if your goal is to completely get better, sometimes you need to take, unfortunately, a few months off sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean,
yeah.
but I still feel like the coach needs, or the PT and your coach need to start working together, right? Like I would like to see gyms start having, coaches do more PT education or having PTs that are on site that can kind of like help you with your journey. Like, hey, you fucked up your finger. Like these are the things that you can't do. Like, all right, you fucked up your knee. Well, now you have a lot less choices, right? Like there's certain things that you need to be like, well, this is what you can do. This is what you can train.
Yeah. And generally speaking, we always give them a range of stuff that are contraindicated. And usually, when you see me as a client, I will give you exercises to do at home.
Yeah.
Right. So
do you think they do them?
Some of them do.
Okay.
Yeah, but it makes a big difference, between those who don't do it and those who do. Yeah.
I did not do my first PT. They gave me the exercises and I never did them. I was 18. Like I thought I was invincible, right? I didn't do my first PT and I regret it to this day. Like I think if I had done a full month every day, just do those exercises every day, I don't think I would have gotten hurt again.
Yeah.
Like, but I didn't because I was young and piss him, I don't know, rocket fuel.
Yeah, but and look, when you're a PT in this environment, like, if I'm not working in a hospital and you're in a private clinic, unfortunately, like, I remember what you said about the coaches.
Yeah.
You are in part a salesperson too. You need your clients to come back.
I know.
You need your clients to come back, and if you give them too much exercises, sometimes they don't
come back.
they don't come back. Like my wife is one of those people. She went to see a few PTs, and she's like, she doesn't want to go because the PTs would ask her, "Do you do your exercises?" And she's like, "I don't want to. I don't want to tell them I don't do my exercises." So she just avoids going back. Things like that.
When did you play piano?
Piano in my teenage years.
Did your piano teacher ask you, did you practice?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
And that fucking sucked because I never practiced. And I was always like, yes? And then you would play it and she'd be like, you didn't practice.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't practice. You're supposed to practice every day, half an hour. And I never practiced. And I would always go back and she'd be like, did you practice?
Well, my parents forced me to practice, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah. I quit piano for swimming. But swimming was great because you had to go to the swimming pool every day.
Yeah.
Like, you were forced. And so if you're going to the pool where you're not going to swim, like, you're already here. Might as well get in.
Yeah, if you're in a sports team, you're definitely going to go. Yeah, like I was in the rowing team when I was in university. And
were you the, what do you call it?
The Coxes?
Yeah.
No.
You're not super tall, so that's why I ask.
Yeah, no, I wasn't in like their elite team.
Okay.
I was.
Rowing's great for you.
Yeah.
I think it's a great exercise, great movement.
Yeah, but if you think about it, if you're in a row, like in a boat of 4,
yeah,
and if you don't show up,
oh no, the team will kill you.
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like nobody can practice.
Yeah.
Right, so
you have to.
You have to show up.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And I remember rowing teams.
Yeah.
They're always up at like 5:30, like in the water by 6.
I've never seen so many sunrises in my life.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Since then, never again.
Never again.
Yeah, swimming was the same way.
Yeah.
Swimming, we were always in the pool by 6:30. Like, you have to be in the pool by 6:30, out of the pool by like 8, and then you got to rush to school. Yeah. Like, you got to get to class. So that was always difficult. But I mean, I loved it. Like, those some of my best friends.
I never felt like more fit in my life.
Yeah.
Compared to that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was that? Rowing?
Rowing back when I was when I was studying PT.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's only so what, like 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
No, like 10 years. 10 years ago.
It's a long time.
I'm 37, man.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm more fit now than I was in my 20s.
Good for you. Good.
I think 18 was like a peak, for swimming, and then like college, I was a mess, and then after college, I was kind of a mess, and then like now I'm doing 4 sports. I try to train each one at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, and like I want to be in there.
Yeah. And
I think it's because the communities are just so good. Like, I love the climbing community here. I think you'd love it too. Everyone is really like motivating when you go to the gym. Everyone's like, hey, long time no see. We have this new route that you should try. It's really cool. I think you'd really like it.
Yeah.
And like, everyone's just wants you to like improve.
It's like being in a sports team again, right? It's like really, I feel like the environment that you're in and the people you surround yourself with have a huge influence on how you become.
Yeah.
Right. If everyone around you just don't do any sports and just like as soon as they go home they just like look at the computer or play with their cell phones, then you're gonna be like that. But if you surround yourself with people who just can't sit still, then you're gonna be like that. Like that's me. Like, I am easily infected by other people's energy.
I think that's great because that also allows you to empathize with them, right? You understand what they're feeling because you're also feeling it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. I think empathy's highly, I don't know if they teach that to you in like, a doctor school, but I feel like that should be taught.
It's hard to teach though sometimes. Do you find? It's like, some people are naturally able to empathize more than others. I mean,
you think it's natural? I don't know. Yeah. I haven't thought about this. I want to say that it's teachable because you have to just I'm a product marketing manager, but I used to be a product manager at our company, and I didn't understand the customer service reps until I spent a day doing their job, and then I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden I was like, there are way more problems than I thought in my product. Like on paper, everything was golden. Like this works, this works, this works. Everything checks. Like I'm down. And then you listen to them, and then you're like, yeah, but you don't really understand the product. Like we built it. But then you listen to them, and then the clients, and the clients are also like, this is not really how I want it. And then you're like, but then you listen to it over, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
empathy. There's empathy there.
I gotcha. Yeah, if you actually put yourself in somebody's shoes, like actually do it, then then it's like it can definitely be taught.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what I meant before is like some people are just naturally more empathetic than others. It's like some people are more sensitive than others, right? That's their personality. Yeah, you're just more empathetic. You're more sensitive to other people's feelings, whereas some other people they're just not, and you have to teach that to them.
Do you feel like, and I've thought about this. Do you feel like empathetic people have less principles because they see the other side?
What do you mean less principles?
They don't necessarily believe in anything because they also see the other side, and they're like, oh, well, it's kind of that too. Because I believe that, because sometimes that happens to me where I'm like, I really understand your side. And I'm like, I want to be principled and say this is right, but I see your side and that also makes sense. And so I end up kind of wobbling back and forth a lot to the point where I'm like, well, then do I really have this belief or not?
Yeah, I think some people have more stronger belief than others. Yeah. Right. So I think you can have strong beliefs and at the same time be empathetic.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I don't know if you can.
Like I can see both sides, but I still kind of like, I would hang on to my own beliefs. It's like I believe very strongly in that. Like, can I give an example?
I'm trying to think of one as well, and I can't. But I know that it happens to me where I wobble because I'm just like, oh, I do see your side, and that kind of makes sense.
No, for example, let's go to that the athlete who wants to push through and return to sports no matter what. Right? Like I have I feel my goal, like what I want to do, in my head is to make you completely better. Right. But I also understand that your goal is to get back into the sport. Right. I understand that perspective, but it doesn't change my my perspective that I really want you to get completely better. Right. You get me?
My point of view is that you're not principled, because if you were principled, you would say, no, you're wrong. You'd be like, this is the right way, and use more force. I think that's kind of what I mean by principled. And I think we value principled men, people like, conquerors like Napoleon. He's like, I'm right.
Unbendable, right?
Yeah.
Unbendable.
But we're all kind of bendable because we empathize. I think if we didn't empathize and we were like, nope, you're all wrong, I'm right, I don't give a shit, I don't listen, like, you're wrong. And I think those people are valuable, but they're also very unempathetic. And I think empathetic people are kind of like, well,
when you put it that way, yeah, we're more flexible.
Yeah, we're more flexible. And I don't think that's wrong. Yeah. It's just, I worry that, where's my core? I always wonder where my core is. Like, where do I just stand firm and like, this is the last one? No. And I haven't found it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing to end on. I'm always curious about the guests. What do you guys think about, empathy versus being like strong? And tell everyone which parkway you work at.
I work in 2 different clinics. Okay. I'm in the one in Jinqiao.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jinqiao's far.
I'm at Tomorrow Square.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2 places.
Yeah. Which days do you know? You have a set schedule?
Yeah, I have a set schedule. So Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays I'm at the Jinqiao. Okay. And Tuesday, Saturdays I'm at the Tomorrow Square.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And Parkway has a new hospital opening soon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where?
It's called Parkway Shanghai. It's in Hongqiao.
Oh, that's far too.
Yeah, very, very far. It's like beyond the airport.
Yeah, that's too
It
far.
would take me 1.5 hours to get
Yeah.
from my house. That's opening in by the end of the year.
Ah, cool. Well, Parkway's at least doing well then. If you guys want to find Zili, go check them out. Is there any way to like book your time through the Parkway thing or whatever?
You just call the clinic.
Okay.
Yeah, and generally, if you have insurance, you would need a doctor's referral. That's
Oh, you need a doctor's referral.
if you want. Yeah, if you have those like fancy insurance, that would pay for it.
Oh, I do have fancy insurance,
Yeah.
but I need a doctor to be like, you can go see Zili.
Unfortunately, it's not
That
like
seems annoying.
Yeah, it's not like Canada where if you know your shoulder hurts, you just go see a physio. Here, the insurance companies they would say it has to be medically necessary to see a physio. So you need to get a doctor's notes, and you don't need to see a Parkway doctor. You can just go to a Chinese hospital and get them to write you a prescription for PT, and that'll be okay.
Yeah, but then they probably have to like run an X-ray or some shit. I'm assuming.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or some kind of test.
Yeah, they have to run some kind of test and then be like, okay, yeah, your shoulder's fucked up. Okay, you can go see a physio.
Yeah,
That's kind of annoying.
Insurance companies, man.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's the world we live in. All right, guys. If you have any time, go check out Zili at Parkway, and that's it.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
Do, 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 do.